Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're diving into the world of blood thinner drugs and therapies. Our focus is on the top-selling therapies in this space over the past decade and how the market has evolved in the last 3 years. We'll also touch upon the latest innovations, challenges, and future trends, so let's get started. Over the past decade, the top-selling blood thinner therapies have been 𝗕𝗟𝗢𝗢𝗓, 𝗧𝗛𝗓𝗪, and 𝗕𝗟𝗢𝗢𝗓. These drugs have dominated the market due to their effectiveness and unique approaches to anticoagulation. Let's take a closer look at each one. 𝗕𝗟𝗢𝗢𝗓, developed by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer, has established itself as the market leader in the direct oral anticoagulant DOAC category. With a global revenue of $18.1 billion in 2022 and peak sales nearing $19 billion in 2023, 𝗕𝗟𝗢𝗢𝗓 continues to be the go-to drug for preventing stroke in patients with atrial fibrillation and treating deep vein thrombosis and pulmonary embolism. Its success can be attributed to its strong efficacy and safety profile, convenience, and the fact that it has fewer dietary or monitoring constraints compared to traditional therapies like warfarin. However, the patents for 𝗕𝗟𝗢𝗢𝗓 are set to expire between 2026 and 2028, which means that generic versions of this drug will soon enter the market. This development is expected to significantly impact the blood thinner market. 𝗧𝗛𝗪𝗪, jointly marketed by Bayer and Johnson & Johnson, is another DOAC that has been gaining popularity in the anticoagulation space. With a revenue of $6.7 billion in 2022, 𝗧𝗛𝗪𝗪 has seen historical peak sales near $8 billion. 𝗧𝗛𝗪𝗪 has a broader label than 𝗕𝗟𝗢𝗢𝗓, which includes its use in coronary artery disease and peripheral artery disease in addition to stroke prevention and VTE treatment. However, its safety profile is considered slightly less favorable compared to 𝗕𝗟𝗢𝗓. 𝗕𝗟𝗢𝗓, formerly developed by Sanofi and BMS, was a blockbuster in the antiplatelet market before its patent expired in 2012. Despite facing generic competition since then, clopidogrel remains widely used globally, particularly in dual antiplatelet therapy following percutaneous coronary interventions. In 2022, generic versions of 𝗕𝗟𝗢𝗓 still represented over $1.2 billion in global sales. Looking ahead, the future of the blood thinner market is exciting with several emerging modalities showing promise. One of the most promising areas is the development of factor Ch and factor XIa inhibitors. These agents target a specific part of the coagulation pathway, offering a potential reduction in bleeding complications. Milvexian from BMS and J&J and asundexian from Bayer are leading the way as they progress through phase 3 trials. If these drugs demonstrate the expected safety and efficacy, they could redefine anticoagulation for patients who are at high risk of bleeding, such as the elderly or those with renal impairment. Another avenue of innovation is represented by therapies like fitusiran from Alnylam. This drug uses small interfering RNA to target antithrombin and rebalance clotting in patients with hemophilia. While not a direct replacement for DOACs, fitusiran and other RNA-based therapies paved the way for the broader use of genetic or gene-editing anticoagulants. Additionally, the convergence of pharmacology and device therapy continues, particularly in interventional cardiology. Drug-eluting stents with antiplatelet coatings and biodegradable vascular scaffolds are being explored to reduce long-term thrombosis risk. Despite the innovation in the space, there are challenges. One significant concern is the payer landscape, particularly in high-income markets like the US and the EU. The pricing of DOACs has come under scrutiny, and payers have introduced step therapy requiring a trial of warfarin before authorizing DOACs. Manufacturers have responded with copay assistance and adherence programs to mitigate access friction. However, emerging markets often rely on branded generics or warfarin due to cost constraints. DOAC penetration in regions like India, Southeast Asia, and parts of Latin America remains low, but is growing due to expanding insurance coverage. As we look to the future, the blood thinner market is poised for major disruption as Eliquis and Xarelto approach the patent cliff in the latter half of this decade. This will open the door for lower-cost generics potentially eroding revenues but expanding access. The success of Factor XI inhibitors and other pipeline assets will be pivotal. Personalized anticoagulation strategies supported by wearables and AI-based AFib detection will also play a larger role. For stakeholders, this presents both challenges and opportunities. To stay ahead, invest in diversification, leverage digital health, prepare for the patent cliff, expand into emerging markets, and embrace value-based contracting. Embracing these strategies will be crucial for navigating the evolving blood thinner market. We hope you found this overview of the blood thinner market and therapies insightful. Stay tuned for more updates on this and other important topics. Thank you for watching.